Recording. Okay. Good evening, student. Time check. It's 10:40 in the evening. So it's been a while since the last lecture. Sorry, guys. We've been so busy with the school accreditation, and this is going to be the week that we are going to have our mock accreditation, and the next week the final accreditation will be presenting to the accreditors. Uh, now we are I'm and this evening I'm going to give you a lecture about site analysis, and it's very important topic because this is a topic, or this thing we've been doing this since first year, and you and in your entire life as an architecture student, or as an architect, you are going to be involved in this, yung ginatawag natin nga site analysis. Then a good site plan, a good site plan or site development plan comes from a good understanding or analyzation of the site. That is why it is very important that we can give so much emphasis or importance to what we call site analysis. Now, as we continue, let me give you some sort of definition of what site analysis is all about. When you talk about architectural site analysis or site analysis, it is the process of evaluating a particular location's physical, mental, and social characteristics with the ambition of developing an architectural solution that will both address and enhance its internal and external context. So, according to arcsoup.com, when you talk about site analysis, it is being able to evaluate or understand the particular location's physical, mental, and social characteristics. So, meaning the physical, something that the mental, or the effect, or kumbaga mental, meaning how does it affect the mental state of a person, the social characteristics of a particular area, so that you can come up with a good or comprehensive or responsive architectural solution. So that is why, and it affects internal, meaning yung sa site mo mismo, sa sulod sang site mo, and external context. So tandaan gid daton, when we are doing site planning or site development plan, we should have considered not just the internal, your area, but how will it affect to the external context, meaning sa mga areas nga sa tupad nimo. Sometimes also, you have to consider the external context, because the external context can have an impact to your external context, to your internal context, I mean. So, yung mga areas sagwa can affect your site within. So, to develop a project of any merit, its site must be first measured. Hindi lang measured nga, measurement in terms of meters or what. Measurement in all the aspects that are related to your site. No? So, explain na natin later on. So, every site is unique. That is why you should really, kumbaga wala sang site analysis na one size fits all, because every areas has its own different context. So, that's why you have to really investigate it and understand the site deeply. So, it is unique, and it will consists of many complex elements such as the varying topography, water courses, trees, plants, habitats, and weather patterns, to name a few, and that's very true. All of which will and should influence an architect's design process and decision making. So, tandaan natin class nga, as an architect or architecture student, wala kita nag-design nga pag gusto lang kita design. no? Kumbaga, for example, in a given site, hindi mo lang na pwede nga i-design ang building mo kag ang site na lang ang mag-a-adjust. Because it happens. In the previous thesis, no, parang ganun yung mga nagkakatabo eh. Because, bahala na, amuning design sa building ko, amuning flow sa sulod sa building ko, but what about how does it connects to the site? How is it connected, or how is the plan of that building related to the site? Kumbaga, bahala na ang site mag-adjust, but the design of your building, no, is an outcome of how site has been done, or how the site was designed, no, is designed. So amo na siya. That's why it's very important. So the appropriate analysis of these elements will initially help determine the building's placement, orientation, form, materiality, but then later go on to influence its structure, sustainability, and procurement route. The procurement route, providing a very vital foundation and crucial starting point for any architectural project. So nakita nyo ni class, now hambal diri, the appropriate site analysis, it will help you determine the placement of the building. So sa kundiin mo nga portion sang lot ibutang ang imong building. And how are you going to orient your building? So yung location, yung placement sang building mo, yung form sang building mo, the materials that you're going to use, the space planning within the building, kumbaga these are all based on how the site was done. No? Kumbaga dako ang bagay. Kumbaga site analysis has a big role or has a big impact to the design or to the placement of spaces within your building. So tandaan kita naton class, that is very important, no? Now, so site analysis, it involves looking at the features of the site and the immediate surrounding area, and where possible, presenting any information in the diagrammatical plan. So tandaan nga naton class na when you talk about site analysis, hindi lang niya class nga sunrise, kundi ng sunset, kundi ng amihan, kundi ng habagat, pero damo pagid nga bagay ang dapat naton ginatan-aw dira. Like for example, in this example, may mga nakasulot pa na energy from water, mixed hardwoods, chalk woodland, pond and swimming area, maturing hardwoods, stony brook corridor, low open field, studio and barn, high points, may mga site access, sunny and open. So kumbaga daw, the wind, etc. So kumbaga daw, all the details that they can have, no, upon investigation, all the details that they can acquire or that they can achieve, ginabutang nila dara dayon, because it will have an impact later on to your decision making. Sa site analysis, wala pa kita ga-design, gina-analyze pa lang naton ang site, gina-intindi pa lang naton ang site, no? Because later on pa na yung translation naton sa aton nga design, no? Because from site analysis, we will be creating schematic plans, design solutions, later on into a translation of a drawing, 3D perspective, and detailed plans. Pero it will start with the site analysis. No? That's why class, hindi nyo ipagpabugal nga naobra mo na design ng building mo, pero wala ka pa plano. May mga muna nga mga cases, no? May perspective na siya, nami ang perspective niya, pero mangkuton mo ang plan, ti anong natabo sa plan, kag mangkuton mo diin ang site, how is it connected to its site, how does the building kumbaga related to the site. So amo na bala. So that's why site analysis has a big role. So this is an example of a site analysis. One of our project or output during the sang amon nga masteral, simple site planning. Simple pa lang nga site planning, pero we visited a site in President Rojas Capiz, and our proposed project is kumbaga socialized housing. Kumbaga daw tenement housing na type. So, aring gin-digital na lang namon. So, amuning site, we investigated, we went to the site, discovered that it is relatively flat, and look at uh, the grass covering or yung mga vegetation. It is an agricultural land being used to propagate sugar cane, to produce sugar cane. We also look at the site, ano yung mga areas sa tubangan niya, like we have seen that it is facing a socialized housing project. Of course, we have the idea that it is 99999 square meters. That's the reality. Kulang na lang isa ka square meter para mangin 100 square meters na amo na natabo. And we tried to measure the site's elevation from the street, and it is 0.5 lower than the barangay road. So, then upon visiting, we have seen that there is a creek, no? So, 3-meter wide, no? Then somehow we have some details, or probably mentioned some possible thing that we can do with the creek. Then we have look at the site, tanaw naman kung ano mga tupad niya, agricultural land. Then we have some comments here that there is good possibility that it can provide good ventilation. Then there's no record of flooding. We have investigated, we have interviewed the the municipal or the barangay council if there are some records of flooding. So far wala man kuno based on that. Then amo na siya. So we have also made some comments, no, nga possibility mga pwede i-require later on. So daw amo na bala, aside sa sunrise, sa sunset, aside sa northeast monsoon kag southwest monsoon or amihan kag habagat, namuning isa mga bagay nga dapat man naton ginatanaw sa site, no? Kag actually gamay pa lang ni kung padalman pagid ni namon, mas damo pagid mga bagay nga pwede naton ibutang dire. So that's what we do. And also aside dire, we should also consider ano mga prevailing laws, mga layi nga dapat mo man i-consider dire. Base bala may mga layi sila dira based sa zoning ordinance nila, based sa land use plan nila nga dapat mo sundon, or base may mga building ordinance sila nga dapat mo man sundon. So pwede man nga ibutang man dira as part of your analysis, no? So para at least nakita sa site analysis mo that you have considered such things. So later on na lang ning wind flow analysis. So let's proceed with the level of analysis. The level of analysis required will vary depending on the scale of proposal. Different levels of analysis are now. There are different levels of analysis. So kung anong mga dapat mo pangitaon in terms of analyzation of the site. So amo ning mga levels of analysis. May regional analysis, the regional context in relation to the nearest urban centers, major services and infrastructure, and broad environmental catchments. Now, in large projects such as mga coal-fired, for example, coal-fired power plant, no? Or let us say siguro large projects such as international port. So when you talk about international port, hindi lang na para sa isa ka city ang function sang port nga ina. It will affect the adjacent municipalities, and at the same time other provinces, and at the same time other islands. So meaning hindi lang isa ka syudad. So it will affect probably the whole region. Kaya international port siya mo, no? Meaning mga international container ships docking in that area. So that's why yung ginatawag naton ma-fall ang ginatawag naton na regional analysis. So you are looking at the regional context. How will the port affect not just the city, not just the nearby municipalities, but the whole island, the whole province, and the adjacent provinces within that area. So the regional context in relation to the nearest urban centers. So how will it affect the commerce? No? How can it impact tourism? How can it impact the businesses in that area, in the region? No? So if you are going to establish an international port, okay lang bala? Namigin man bala? Nga dira mo siya ibutang? May in terms of, kumbaga, in terms of, is it really feasible? Kumbaga, will there be any positive effects that it will bring, or base bala negative effects instead? So how will it affect the growth of the city, of the province, of the region? Or base mas better siya to be located somewhere else within that region? So how will it affect the environment in that area? So daw amo na bala regional analysis. So daw dako gid ya, no? Daw dako gid ang kumbaga daw it's more on the urban regional planning nga side. Also, we have what we call local analysis. The local context around the site, including local services, infrastructure, local environmental issues, and other built form and landscape context of the site. Now, for example, in Iloilo City, we are going, for example lang niya, mapatindog kita dira sang isa ka, ano patindog naton dire? Isa ka, ano, huwag ko sa maisip. So, in Iloilo City, mapatindog kita ba sang isa ka, ano? Isa ka, last time, no? Yung Rockwell, if you are familiar with Rockwell there in Makati, no, somewhere there in Makati or in Metro Manila, kumbaga daw medyo elite, medyo elite siya, no, for the high class, kag medyo amo na bala for elite, for high class mo na. I've heard some instances here in Iloilo that kumbaga daw nag-research diri sila if the Rockwell can also be established in Iloilo City. So ang pamangkot is Iloilo City ready for such high end, no, na setting, na establishment. Kumbaga, will that investors can really gain, no, in terms of kumbaga kay yung mga Ilonggo siling nila kuno ano mo kumbaga ang mga Ilonggo amo ning tendency, no, pag may mga bag-o gani, grabe, no, grabe, like sang una may Krispy Kreme, pagkabot sang Krispy Kreme, grabe daw, way na akong gabakal, di ka kabakal, kaya to grabe ang pila. Pero pagka tapos na ang balik man nagyapon sa mga original, sa mga, kumbaga, iyas ang mga naandan bala, something like that. Pero if we are going to establish Rockwell in Iloilo, what do you think is going to be the effect? Will they really gain from their investments? O basi mapirdi lang sila? Kumbaga mo na siya bala. So, ang issue ni is about social, kumbaga social context ni siya. Types ang tao lagi na consider nila diri. And at the same time, investment income, kumbaga daw return of investment, will it be possible? Will it be a gain for them? Something like that, no? Now, another example is if we are going to establish kumbaga, mga yung ginatawag naton bala nga mga high density residential building, R4 I think, or R3, na mga ano gid mga high rise gid nga mga building. So how will it affect the city in terms of environment, in terms of the investment, in terms of tourism? So daw mo na siya dayon. So local analysis to, ihawan ko to explain pero do kalawig. Pero now, let's go to the site analysis. Yung site lang mismo. Pero tandaan class naton that when you talk about site analysis, we are not always talking about a regular 100 square meter lot in a subdivision, or 120 square meter lot, or 200 square meter lot in a subdivision. It can be more than that, no? Mga 1,000 square meters that can be possible in site analysis, no? So the immediate context around within the site, including adjusted built form, services, site environmental issues, key site opportunities, and constraints. So sa site mo mismo, ano mga constraint dira? Siyempre, may mga laying na dapat mo sundon. May mga opportunities nga pwede mo i-capture, no? Pero of course, you should really be considerate about your external context na ginahambal natin kay na how will it impact the immediate surrounding. For example, heritage, may mga heritage area sa palibot mo, mapatindog ka sang building. Tapos ang patindog mo, modern. So, unless nga may heritage law or layi that naga-prevail sa muna area, that you should not design something that is far from the architectural character of the areas surrounding you, dapat hindi mo ganyan. Dapat sundon mo gid layi kay da. Amo na bala? So i-consider mo gid na siya. Now, amo na siya ibang example. And of course, your setback from the center line, kumaga daw the facade, the distance of your facade from the center line or from the property line. So, dapat i-maintain mo gid na siya base sa layi, sa building code, or base may mga prevailing laws pagidra or ordinances sa city na dapat mo sundon. So, something like that. So, now, ang aton nga topic subong or context nato is sa site analysis lang. No? So, amo nang tagaan naton focus. Now, when you talk about methods, or there are two methods of establishing a site. No? So we have site selection process and the development suitability process. What do you mean by site selection process? This process selects from a list of potential sites one that suits best the given use and requirements of the project. So in the site selection process, may ara ka na sa pinsar sang client or investor sang project nga gusto niya. Like for example, a subdivision. So a subdivision or high-end subdivision. So amo nang project niya. So amo gid nang gusto niya i-invest himuon, i-construct. So ang pamangkot din siya yung mapatindog. So mangita siya sang site, malibot siya sa within the city, tanaw niya naman na sigurado ang mga agricultural land nga, iman nga agricultural land, sad to say, kumbaga productive lands pa na tani, no? High value agricultural lands. Pero ito syempre, basta. So, pangitaon niya na kung din ang site nga daw medyo nami balang ang location, no? Dason barato. Dason gamay lang kinala niya i-invest. Then at the same time, lapit man sa city or accessible. So, mangita siya sang amo nga land. Siyempre, dapat may mga checklist. Dapat barato. Dapat mga more than 10 hectares kadako. Dason wala problema in terms of the ownership. Para isa lang tao istoryahan niya. Then, accessible from any place of the province. Then may damo pa gid, so pangitaon niya na, then ma-select siyang site nga suited sa mga checklist niya, sa mga requirements niya, no? So that's site selection process. Also, we have what we call development suitability process. May iba naman nga mga tao, may ara sila, for example, may client, may nabakal siya nga duta mga 10 hectares. Now, when you talk about development suitability process, this process select the best possible use and development suited for a given site. So, opposite naman ini siya sang site selection process. Yung client mo nakabakal sang 10,000 square meter, 10 hectares of land, and wala siya sang may nabalaan or nagapanundom siya kung anong pwede niya himuon sa amo nga lote, sa amo nga lot, sa amo nga land. So they are going to do some feasibility study and see what's the best possible development that they can have, that they can introduce to that land. So amo naman na siya dayon, no? Now, let's proceed with the three factors of site analysis. Hambal naton ngayon na, there are so many things to consider when you analyze the site. Now, we have what we call natural factors, cultural factors, and aesthetic factors. And all these three factors, we are going to discuss this one by one. Okay? So for now, amula na anay, then I will continue later on with the natural factors. So, thank you.